Hello and welcome to day 13 of 24 recipes till December. If you are new here, my name is Claudia, and every day in December I will be posting a recipe. Today we're making filhoses. Well, what my family calls filhoses. I think different parts of Portugal have different names for this recipe. In our house, it's called filhoses. And filhoses is like a donut that's made out of pumpkin, and then it's fried, and then it's coated with cinnamon and sugar. It is delicious. And Christmas Eve doesn't start until we're all in the kitchen helping my mom make filhoses. And it's usually a fight over who gets to do what. And as we get older, we sort of graduate to a different position of the assembly line in the filhoses. So let's get into this recipe. For this recipe, you're gonna need flour, and also the star ingredient is the squash. I'm using butternut squash that I've cooked and drained. And usually I just cook it in the Instant Pot because you're just using steam to cook it. So technically I steamed it, I didn't cook it in water. We're also gonna need orange juice. I have a zest of 2 oranges, which gave me the exact amount that I need for the orange juice. We're gonna need eggs, sugar. I have instant yeast, some salt, and port wine. We're also gonna need cinnamon and sugar, and to fry, I'm using sunflower oil, organic. So let's get into it. Bora cozinhar. We're gonna start off by mixing our instant yeast into our orange juice, and you want the orange juice to be at room temperature. So you just mix it in and give it a stir. In the meantime, we're going to put our squash into our bowl. I'm using a stand mixer with a paddle attachment. You can just also use a hand mixer, or my mom usually makes it by hand, so that is also an option. Today we're gonna take the easy way. We're gonna use our stand mixer. So we just wanna break up the squash and get it nice and smooth before we start adding in our ingredients. So now that the squash is all smooth, we're gonna start adding our ingredients one by one, starting just with the orange zest. And I'm just gonna have it at a slow speed. We're gonna add in our instant yeast and the orange juice. We're gonna add in our eggs one at a time, and our sugar and our salt. I'm also gonna add in our port wine. And before I start adding in the flour, I'm gonna scrape down the bowl. So now I'm gonna start adding in the flour slowly. You want to go slow when adding in the flour because it depends on the water content of your squash. We might not need all this flour. So we're looking for a consistency on the flour, and I will show you what the consistency is going to be. So I'm going to show you how you want the dough. See how it is pulling aside and you get these bubbles? That is what you're looking for. You're looking for it to start pulling aside and develop bubbles that you can see, and the bubbles are popping. That's the consistency you want. And just to show you, this is still how much flour I have left over. So I'm not going to add this flour. It doesn't need it. Because as you can see, the dough is ready. And it doesn't take very long. See the bubbles? That is what you're looking for. Just to give you an idea, when we make this with my mom's usually always made it the way my grandma makes it. She makes it in a big alguidar, a big bowl, and we have to hold it down because she goes with her hands and she goes like she slaps it against the bowl, and that's what develops those bubbles. And it usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes of the slapping motion to get the dough the way we have it now here in the stand mixer. To say that you can totally do this by hand, this exact same way, and you start adding in the flour slowly and constantly, that whipping motion of whipping the dough, and you're gonna feel it with your hands when the dough is ready, because it's gonna be nice and flowy, and you lift it up and it's very creamy and you have those bubbles. So now we're gonna leave, the dough needs to rest for at least 2 hours and in a warm place. So the way I like to do it is I like to warm up some hot water in the microwave, and then I cover the bowl and put the bowl in the microwave and let it rest in there, because it gives it some nice moisture from the hot water and warms. So I'll see you back here in 2 hours. So I just wanted to show you what the dough looks like. See how it's like this when it comes off? That's what you're looking for. It is perfect. And you're gonna see the bubbles popping. If you keep stirring it, like the bubbles will come and pop. And I have, I would say, about 3/4 cups left of the flour, which we're not going to use. Just wanted to show you our dough is done. It's been 2 hours, and this is what we're looking for when you pull it out. See how it's like it's perfect, and the smell is fantastic. So now we're ready to fry our dough. So our dough is ready, and we're now ready to fry up our filhoses. For that, we're going to need a strainer, which I've lined with some paper towel, one of these little thingamabobs, which I don't know the name for. I also have one bowl where we're gonna put our sugar and cinnamon mixture, and then one bowl for us to put our filhoses in after they're done. And I'm gonna be frying them up in this little saucepan, and I'm using sunflower oil. So let's get to frying. Before you start frying, it's important for you to have all your sections ready, and this is what I was saying. Like when we do this, everyone is at their section and they know what they're doing. So we're gonna prep, we're gonna put the oil on the stove and get it heated up, and then I'm gonna prep my cinnamon and sugar, and we're good to fry. So I have some sugar in here, probably like a cup of sugar, and I put in some cinnamon. I don't know how much. You just want to get that color. We go by color here. So maybe just a bit more. I would say probably like maybe a tablespoon of cinnamon. Okay, so I have the oil heating up, and I just have it at a medium, so on 6. And I'm gonna drop in a piece of bread. When the piece of bread starts frying up, I know that my oil is hot. This is the way Mom does it, and my grandma used to do it, so that's what we're doing. I have my station here that I'm gonna put the filhoses after they finished frying, just to drain off the oil. I have a cup of cold water with my spoon in here. And here we have our dough. That looks very yellow. And do you see how it's pulling away? This is a beautiful dough. That is exactly what you're looking for. Once I start frying, I'll show you how we make the little filhoses. But see how it pulls away like that? Amazing. Also over here I have my cinnamon sugar station and the final bowl where we're gonna put our filhoses in. You see that the bread is frying, and I've put my hand over it and it's warm. So our oil is good to go. I'm gonna take out the bread, and now I'm gonna start frying. So what you want to do is you want to grab a bit like so, a spoonful. And we're gonna drop it in like so. And now we're gonna let it fry, and it's gonna come to the surface, and we're gonna turn it around until it's golden brown. So you just wanna do a spoonful. It'll give you a nice size, and the same thing, it should just drop off. You can help it along with your finger if you need to. And you wet it as you go. You don't, like anything, you don't wanna overcrowd the pan. So I would say probably 4 in here. So you're just grabbing it and finding a spot and dropping it in. See how that one just popped up? That's what you're looking for. It pops up, and then as it pops up, we're gonna use a fork to turn them. We're gonna let it go for a little bit. Oh, that one got stuck on the bottom, so I think we might have needed to put a bit more oil in it. So now you just want to make sure that you turn and see how that one's golden brown. This could have been just because it was the first one. And you just turn them. So do you see this brown color like this? Golden brown color? That is what you're looking for, and it should be like that on all sides. So now you just want to take off the oil, and we're going to put them in our little basket with our paper towel. So now we're gonna take them to our sugar and cinnamon station. And usually my niece Sophia would do this part. It's usually the little ones who do it. And we just drop it in, and you wanna coat it in sugar and cinnamon, and then take off the excess. And yes, it's totally okay to eat them while they're still hot. And here we have our filhoses. We are finally done. There was a lot more to these, but they've been eaten. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to do. You just have to be careful when you're frying them. You don't want to have the oil too hot because they need to fry all the way through. And as soon as they're like a golden color, they should be done, as long as you don't have your oil too hot. And now comes the most difficult part. We're gonna try them. As you can see, they're really fluffy, and then when you open it up, see how these are still hot, and you can totally eat them hot. So now comes the tasting. I actually already tasted them. They're really delicious. They're really fluffy inside. And the taste of the orange is not overpowering, it's just right. And you can taste a bit of the port wine that just brings out a sweet taste in them. They're perfectly done. Here at home, these don't last very long. And all you, like, if you want to save them from one day to the next, you just cover them up, and you just, you can just leave them out. They don't have to go in the fridge. And the next day, the cinnamon and sugar will develop into this beautiful syrup that's at the bottom of the bowl. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Let me know if you make it, and hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching. When the neighbors call, I hit the road. Baby, let it snow.